Hey guys, it's Robosaurus, and going to be talking about some Feral Druid Uru. We're about a week away from Dragonflight launch. There have been some talent nerfs. Talk a little bit about gearing, what I think is going to be the go for raid. Um, so, in terms of gearing, obviously you want 4 set, but most of the time you don't really have too much choice as to what gear you get. You usually just take eye level. Some little mentions are you can get a JC neck as a pretty strong secondary effect, which is a proc from gems that you have equipped. It's pretty good. In terms of stats, I think crit mastery is probably the go, although you do get a crit flask that gives you, not this one, a crit flask. Oh, they actually buffed that. A crit flask that gives you 10% crit, so you should definitely take that. Uh, Weapons, whatever eye level, crit mastery, probably. Haste, you don't need that much. I think anywhere from, I've got a lot, but if you've got more than like 12%, it should be enough to maintain your rotation. So in terms of trinkets, the ones you can actually farm are the M plus ones. So basically it's Hunger of the Pack because it has huge crit. It's a passive statistic, and then you want to on-use. So your on-use options are pretty limited. The 2-minute option is Horn of Valor, which I think it's not that far under budget because this one I think normally you'd expect 470 agi, you get 360 or something if you average it out. And this is a 2-minute build basically. The other trinket you get is like a 3-minute puzzle box that includes a cast time, and then you'll be running a 3-minute build. So I don't think that's going to be the play. And then other than that, there's this trinket here, which is another 3-minute trinket. Might be useful for Convoke. There's a lot of just passive ones. Windscar Whetstone seems to be, this is from Quarter Stars, it seems to be pretty good for M plus for AoE. Because I think it does like 6 to 7% of your damage breakdown, plus gives you mastery, which is one of your better stats. So assuming you're farming your stuff, you get these 2 trinkets, then your builds are locked into like 2-minute berserk. And then I'll talk about the bosses, I guess. So this is, okay, I have a couple of imports here. So let me just import this. This is like single target build, I think. Ignore the left-hand side of the tree. We'll talk about the bosses. So I think the raid build is for the left-hand side. You're pretty much always going to take Innovate and Nature's Visual. So it looks something like this. I actually think one point in Wellhide Instinct and one in Renewal is good. You can build some more defensiveness if you want to take Thick Hide by taking out some points from Nurturing Instinct, etc., etc. This is pretty much, you don't need Heart of the Wild. This is pretty much the basic build. You can even take 30% magic damage, which is pretty minor, and I'm not 100% sure if Moonfire is affected by that. So anyway, let's talk about the right-hand side. I've tried Convoke builds and non-Convoke builds. And I also want to mention Taste of Blood seems to be dead in literally every build, and I'll explain why. You take Tear Open Wounds even if you don't take Primal Wrath. In the builds I've been trying, let me see if I got a dummy here. This is like a Convoke build with Tasteful Blood. I think this is 1-minute Convoke. And you're doing like 23% of your breakdown as FB. And then there's like another one up here. This is like a dot build. This is the dot build? I think this is a dot build. And yeah, it's about the same. Although this is a non-Convoke build, so you actually have a similar amount of FBs because you have Cat's Curiosity. So if you're doing like 20, let's say you're optimistic and 25% of your damage is coming from Ferocious Bite, these 2 points will add 12% damage, which is like 2.5%. But there's multiple points in the tree that can give you more than 2.5% damage. So infected wounds by itself, it's like 4 points, 4.5. Berserk Frenzy is a minimum of 4%. So these 2. So if you just sack this point and take up one of these 2, or even sudden ambush second point, it's going to give you more value than than running Taste of Blood. And you need to have 2 points on the left side anyway for single target. So yeah, and talking about Convoke versus non-Convoke, non-Convoke seems to do a lot more damage for me, but you need to be more accurate, obviously. So first boss, Eranog, single target. This is like a single target build. You use Thrash to basically refresh Predator. I think 5 ads spawn intermittently, but it's mainly single target boss. If you wanted to switch this up, you would just literally just do this, and then you get rid of your max energy, and you have Primal Wrath, and that's how you would nuke the ads when they spawn. You just spam Primal Wrath, which is fine. And I think that's my import. Let's check on here. Yeah, it's literally the same import. All right. So then Taros is the second boss. It's a pure single target. Let me just import this. And I think yeah. So with pure single target, I think your toss-ups are between Apex Predator's Craving and Unbridled Swarm split. So if you have a pre-pull and you can stack up Adaptive Swarm before the raid starts and it doesn't reset, and because there's only one target, so you don't just have swarms jumping off into the middle of nowhere, I think Unbridled Swarm is actually better than Apex Predator's Craving. So for pure single target, I would actually take this build instead. And yeah, this is the funny thing where you have Tear Open Wounds, but you've got no Primal Wrath. So you actually have a dead talent. I think I had an alternative here. What's the alternative? The alternative is just whether you want this, whichever one is better. I think with the pre-pull, Unbridled Swarm is better. All right. Next fight we have is Primal Council. So Primal Council, it's a sustained 4-target cleave. And this is my build. Very important to take Nature's Vigil in this fight because I think your rip damage counts as single target and does big healing. This is my sustain. Yeah, this looks right. This is sustained. You get rid of Moonfire because you can nerf now. This is like sustained 4-target. The alternative build for this is, I think you believe, you take Vein Ripper. Vein Ripper has a very interesting interaction that I found. And let me see if I have it in my alternative build. Yeah, okay. Let me just do this. My alternative build, spam. Yeah, so my alternative build here, what I did was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is the only build where you don't have 10 points in the last section. So you can take Vein Ripper, which makes Rip last 25% longer. And then instead of Primal Wrathing at 5 points all the time, you can Primal Wrath at 4 points. And I believe there's extra duration. Your Tear Open Wounds will still do the same amount of damage, but your Primal Wrath on hit will do slightly less. But because you have a high quantity of Primal Wrath, it just does more damage overall. And this way you don't have to juggle Adaptive Swarm. So I think this build might also be competitive, but I haven't done super extensive testing. It seemed good though. So let's move on to Eranog, which is the spider boss. Which we're gonna need to see if I can delete these. I think this is very similar. This is very similar to the first boss. So this is a build pretty much the same as the first boss. You take Primal Wrath because you do have some intermittent cleave, and there is a large ad that walks in. I haven't worked out the exact timings on this boss, but I think an alternative build is basically if you want to take a Convoke build. This is the first boss. I think a Convoke build might work. So I'll explain why. So because if you don't have like the smoothest transition, like moving between platforms, you're gonna have downtime. If you have downtime, you could benefit Convoke. And if you want to take Convoke, I think this is the build you would use. So you get rid of Sudden Ambush, and then you take Rampant Ferocity, and then I think it's 2-minute intermission. Then when you Convoke, this Rampant Ferocity has quite a bit of value, and you can nuke the big ad with the boss. But this is not my preferred build because it will do less damage in the last phase. And you drop Primal Wrath because probably don't need it. Someone else in the raid can kill stuff. You still take Adaptive Swarm because it's a Giga talent. Alright, moving on to Dathia. You'll probably see. So Dathia is the platform boss. So you have an option. You could be single target. That's not my build. Or is it? Oh, okay. I didn't import. I think it's back to one of the single targets. So this is a ST build for Dathia. So I'm not going to import it. But basically that's this. It looks very similar. I think this is similar to the first boss, but I didn't take Unbridled Swarm. I didn't take Primal Wrath. And the comment for this is that if you take Unbridled Swarm and it leaps an ally and the ally has to go to the platform, you lose your Adaptive Swarm. So I think for this fight, you're back to Apex Predator's Craving. If you are going to the platforms, you can if you are going to the platforms, you can take. I don't think you need Double Clawed Rake, and you're just spamming Primal Wrath, and then you come back to the main platform. So there's not too much change here. The next boss is the one that goes immune, which I hate. Kurag Grim Totem. So I think this one's an interesting boss. And the reason it's interesting is because he periodically goes immune and summons 2 ads, and you have to nuke down the ads. So let's just delete this one. Oh, that looks really funny. What? Kurag. This one, I think I took Primal Wrath because you can Primal Wrath on 2 targets, so you can spam this when the 2 mobs spawn. But I didn't think Double Clawed Rake was required because it's only 2 ads up for a pretty short section of the fight. Otherwise, mainly single target. And I think the only difference here I would change is you can go back to the Spider Blast Convoke build, which we're going to load like this. And that depends when your transitions line up, because I'm not sure exactly on the fight timing. But if you wanted to convert the 2 ads and they're not tanked on top of the immune boss, you would do something like this. I think this gives you access to the Double Clawed Rake, and it gives you access to Convoke. You could also switch Lunar Inspiration here. With the Convoke build, you actually have to drop a talent on the left-hand side here to get everything you want. Okay, and then Brewkeeper. Yeah, there's 2 roles. Like I found, usually, like mentally in my head, melee are going to be on the boss, range, and then some range and healers, and a couple of melee with good cleave are going to go kill ads. That way you can get the boss as low as possible before the last phase starts. So this is Brewkeeper. This is the single target build. I'm not going to load it. This is if you're just following the boss. You do something like this. You do. I still think you take Primal Wrath, and the reason is because when you start phase 3, you will need to do some cleave, and getting that cleave down to get it just to the boss is pretty important. So you probably still want to take some AoE in your kit just to clean everything up nice and easy. And then if you want to add Killing Duty instead, which is the fun part in your Giga Patter, you just don't take Lunar Inspiration. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think this is, you put this on any big ads, and this, I think Adaptive Swarm will be good in the last phase. You could gimp your last phase damage and do this though, if you wanted less buttons. And this is just back to the Vein Ripper Primal Wrath at 4 common points. So I think that covers my thoughts for the first raid and gearing. Yeah, I hope that was helpful.